Welcome back to Seriously Stumped. Do you feel like your tractor's being held back by some chains? Do you want to increase your loader's lifting capabilities or increase your backhoe's digging capabilities? If so, stick around today to figure out how you can jailbreak your tractor. But if that doesn't loosen up your cuffs, you can stay stumped. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Alright, so fam, you know how we like to dive right in, but first I had to get those clevis hooks from Harbor Freight installed on our chain for some of our lift tests that we're going to do. And now we want to go over a little bit of particulars regarding our manual and our starting points for our tractor. So essentially where my loader is already, because if you guys have been following me around, you'll know that we've been testing the holy you-know-what out of this KBX Talon from Little Buck Loader. We use that KBX Talon to pick up this isopropyl alcohol drum filled completely with water right at 500 pounds. And for those of you who watched that video, you saw that we were almost at our maximum lifting capabilities of the BX23S. The tires were already compressing when we lifted it. But as I'm sure most of you know, it's not about what you can lift once, it's about what you can lift a bunch of times safely and efficiently. Which brings me right back to our manual here. But hey, before I get too far into this, let me go ahead and let you guys know with a little PSA that anything I say in this video needs to be taken with a grain of salt, because any pressure that you raise your hydraulic system to is solely on you, and I'm not here to let you know what will and what will not void your warranty. What I'm going to do is I'm going to raise my PSI from the 1790 to 1850 operating range of our manual up to 1950 to 2000. And that way I can really get those reps in with these, and I can better have that functionality of my backhoe bucket, and I'm not risking overly damaging my machine or my front axles by lifting too much. So that's what I'm going to do. And the way we do that is you buy a kit off Amazon, or you can go to your local hardware store and buy all these parts a lot cheaper. I went with the kit with the directions, that way I could show you guys. And what it's called is Jailbreak Your Tractor, and I picked it up from Amazon, and they make these kits for all types of Kubota series tractors. But before I go check exactly where my hydraulic pressure is now, because to do that I'm gonna have to take off the loader, I'm gonna use the loader to do some lift tests to give me a baseline to figure out how much I'm increasing on my loader capabilities. What a beautiful sight. Now I can finally do my test. Let's go. Ho, 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 ho. It's always a good day when Amazon shows up and it's not your wife that ordered everything. I know exactly what these are. Right here is our jailbreak kit. And I guess they wanted to put it in a multitude of packaging. And then we got to get out Barry, the bigger blade. Long time no see, but he's still sharp as ever. And we're going to get this crane scale cut open. It's up to 2,000 pounds. So once I hook it up to this chain, I'll be able to see what the loader can lift, as well as the backhoe attachment as well. And that's our first round of testing. I got my 1,000 kilogram crane scale hooked up to this shackle down here into this old dead stump, and we're gonna see if it's calibrated before we hook the tractor up to it. So now we got our Amazon crane scale all hooked up. We want to tear it out at 0, and it's got a couple buttons: power, hold for units, and then tear at 0. Once you get it zeroed out, and if you want to test exactly what it is, I know that I should be able to lift over 300 pounds, and that's what we're gonna prove right now. All right, so I'm pretty sure that was over 300 pounds. That's the way we know it's calibrated, and let's figure out what this tractor can lift. Once you verify it's calibrated, you can get it hooked up to your loader. You can go ahead and test your 0. I got it all teared out, we're good to go. All we're gonna do is rev it up to 3,000 RPM and pull back, lift the bucket straight up and figure out what our test is. And I'm gonna have to come back here and review this just like you guys to figure out what it is. I got it all hooked up to the backhoe, and when I misspoke earlier, I said 0 is what we're trying to figure out. We're trying to figure out what our baseline is. So all I'm gonna do is rev it back up to 3,000 RPM, right at the PTO range, and then I'm gonna pull back on the bucket and just lift it up and figure out exactly what we're at. Yeah! Let's see your lawn tractor do that. This next part, we're gonna need us a 22mm socket and a large extension. So bada bing, bada boom. Let's go ahead and give us all of the room, and then grab our 22mm, and we're set. All right, Stump Fam, everything you've seen me do thus far is just for me to get my baseline. That way I can show you guys before and after of raising your hydraulic pressure. But when you get your jailbreak your tractor kit, you get this oil-filled gauge and your flat face connector if that's what you need for yours. But like I said, you pick out the appropriate model, you get a cool sticker. If you guys don't want to support my channel and you want to head on over to Jailbreak Your Tractor yourself, and if you're the first one, I think this is only going to be valid for one person, but you can use this coupon code, save yourself some money. You get these factory OEM shims and this cool colorful chart, which is what you're not going to need if you're going to follow my directions of this video, but it's going to tell you exactly how much PSI you add based on how many millimeters of shim you add. All right, Stump Fam, the first step to jailbreak your tractor is to get your loader out of the way. But if you have a BX23S, you could just take your backhoe attachment off like I've done, and you can test your pressure from back there. And then you can hook it up to any one of these 4 ports. It's just gonna depict as to which way you move your loader arm control right here. And as you'll see on here, this kit works for pretty much all types of Kubota tractors, and it gives you operating ranges for your PSI in accordance with. But then you just take it and you button it on right here like that. Once you get it clicked on, you fire it up, get it up to 3,000 RPM, and then read exactly where you're at. You got your baseline and you know how much you need to shim from there. Bing, bada, boom. We got it hooked up to the rear of our BX23S just to show you that we can do the same. The only difference with this is we're not going to be moving any lever, because as soon as we start our tractor up and we raise it up to 3,000 RPM, this thing's going to be pegging immediately at that hopefully 1,700 range. That way our system is operating this same hydraulic pressure on our loader as it is on our backhoe assembly. Once you know your tractor's operating baseline PSI, you can come in here with your 22mm socket and remove your pressure relief valve right here, which has a spring on the inside, and that's what you're going to shim. And even if you're not trying to increase the hydraulic PSI of your tractor, what you need to do is just periodically check this over time. And then be mindful that how tight you tighten this on the return will increase or decrease your pressure. So you may want to break out a torque wrench, or you can just use small incremental tightening to get your pressure exactly dialed in where you want. Looks like the 10-inch extension was just enough, and I want to get fully out of the way of this because it is a knuckle buster 3000. Give it the old doctor pop. Since this is a hydraulic system, you don't want to get any dirt and debris in there. And as you can tell, we barely lost any hydraulic fluid, but if you have any on hand and you want to top off those few extra drops, go ahead. Here's the OEM parts. I'm going to go straight with the Big Daddy, the 0.4 shim. And if you do some quick math, that should increase this by 160 PSI, which may not be enough because I wanted to get up to like 1950. You just drop it in and then you drop your spring back in, and then you go put this right back into the same spot. And like I said, this spring will lose tension over time, so having that gauge and being able to periodically check this with your maintenance schedule, that way you know your tractor is operating at optimum efficiency. I got our water filled gauge button back up, and we're about to go ahead and do a test now that we got that 0.4mm shim in there. But I wanted to let you guys know that not only did you see this on the internet, but you also saw it from a certified YouTube mechanic, so you can trust it. As you can tell, it's not exactly where I want it, so I'm going to add another shim, repeat the process, test it again, figure out if we can get it right near 2,000. We'll be good to go. I added the 0.1mm shim this time, and keep in mind, if you're going to buy all these parts yourself, like if you're going to go to the hardware store and get your own water-filled gauge, you can use washers, stainless steel stuff. That way it's good to go, or you can get this kit yourself and have the trusted OEM stuff. It's just really up to your preference. All in all, I ended up having to use the 0.4, the 0.2, and the 0.1 shim that came in the Jailbreak Your Tractor kit to get it operating right at 1950. But that's going to be dependent upon your machine and where your baseline was. So let's go ahead and get the backhoe attachment on the back, the loader attachment on the front, and do some final testing. We got everything hooked back up, the KBX talons on the front, the backhoes on the back, the crane scale's good to go up there. Let's see if we can go from that 647 baseline up to a new height. Let's go. Stump fam, it's not about what you can lift once, it's about what you can lift and keep doing it at maximum capacity over and over again. And as you guys saw, if you watched my last video, the one directly below this, it barely lifted that before I did this Jailbreak Your Tractor. So hopefully you guys have learned a little something today. Hopefully you're no longer stumped. Hopefully you remember to stay safe and stay hydrated, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Big shout out to JW for certifying me a YouTube mechanic. Hopefully everybody who watched this video now feels like they can go out and jailbreak their tractor, because this one's jailbroken. Let's go. Here's a little close-up of everything you get in that kit. The awesome hydraulic gauge, 3 shims, some colorful directions, that awesome sticker, the flat face connector. Remember to dig deeper, support small businesses, and lift harder. Let's go.